These 7 awesome Star Trek action scenes outside of Starships always blow me away. I'm always blown away by these 7 times Star Trek characters engage in incredible action scenes outside of their starships. Star Trek. The original series episodes were produced on a 1960s television budget. Complex characters, moral and ethical quandaries, great imagination, and fisticuffs had to compensate for Star Trek's limited ability to deliver outer space action. While the crew of the USS Enterprise did occasionally don spacesuits, action sequences staged outside of their starship were few and far between. When Star Trek jumped to big-budget motion pictures, starting with 1979's Star Trek, the motion picture, exciting sequences beyond the confines of the Starship Enterprise became a possibility. Still, Star Trek kept such action scenes to a minimum until J.J. Abrams rebooted Star Trek into a blockbuster special effects extravaganza in 2009. Star Trek's visual upgrade gave new life to action beyond a starship. Starting with Star Trek Discovery in 2017, Star Trek's TV series began to match what was possible in a big-budget movie. Star Trek on Paramount Plus shows and the streaming movie Star Trek Section 31 have feature film quality visual effects. Thus, Star Trek's noble heroes began to don space suits and leave their starships behind. Here are the 7 most thrilling times Star Trek characters left their starships and leaped into action. In Star Trek, the motion picture, Spock Leonard Nimoy donned a spacesuit and performed an eyebrow-raising spacewalk into the massive sentient spacecraft called VGR. The heroic Vulcan rocketed himself deep into VGR, seeking the machine's secrets. Finally, Spock engaged in a Vulcan mind meld with VGR, which rendered him unconscious. Luckily, Spock was rescued and brought back aboard the USS Enterprise, having learned VGR is a lonely machine mind seeking answers from its creator. Star Trek, the motion picture, boasts truly spectacular visual effects, although Robert Wise's movie is light on action and mirth. Yet Spock's daring spacewalk is one of Star Trek, the motion picture's most nail-biting sequences. Spock's personal quest to unlock VGER's secrets is also provocative and highlights the similarities between VGER and the Vulcan. There had simply never been a sequence like it's seen in Star Trek before. 17 years after Star Trek, the motion picture, director Jonathan Frakes delivered the first zero-gravity fight scene in a Star Trek movie. In 1996, as Star Trek First Contact, Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart, LT, Commander Worf Michael Dorn, and Mr. Hawk Neil McDonough donned space suits and walked the Sovereign-class USS Enterprise E's hull. Picard's away team must stop the Borg from converting its deflector array into a beacon to summon the Collective from the Delta Quadrant. Worf also gets to deliver one of Star Trek First Contact's signature quips, "Assimilate this." Star Trek First Contact spacewalk is one of the most memorable action scenes in a Star Trek movie. Jonathan Frakes inverts his camera to give the audience the queasiness of Zero-G, while Picard, Worf, and the doomed Hawk battle the cybernetic villains. It's a bravura action scene, with Picard's team emerging victorious. Worf also gets to deliver one of Star Trek First Contact's signature quips, "Assimilate this." When you think of Star Trek, starships probably dominate your imagination. Bridge crew members in sleek uniforms, warp cores humming, and photon torpedoes flying through space. But some of the most exhilarating, pulse-pounding moments in Star Trek history don't happen inside the protective hull of a vessel. They explode into life outside, where danger and drama strike in the wildest and most unexpected ways. These are the 7 Star Trek action scenes that take place away from starships and never fail to blow me away. 1. Kirk versus the Gorn Star Trek, the original series, Arena. Yes, it's a guy in a rubber suit. Yes, the boulders are foam. But somehow, Captain Kirk's battle with the slow, hissing Gorn captain on a barren alien planet remains unforgettable. There's a raw survivalist energy in this classic scene. Devoid of phasers or ship systems, Kirk must rely on wit and instinct. Watching him craft a makeshift cannon from bamboo and minerals is absurd and awesome. It's not just a fight, it's Star Trek's first outdoor action epic, and it still packs a punch. 2. The battle at AR-558 Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, The Siege of AR-558. This episode doesn't just take the action outside the ship, it drops it into the mud and blood of a brutal ground war. Sisko and his crew defend a remote communications relay against relentless Jem'Hadar attacks. With trench warfare, makeshift weapons, and real casualties, the episode feels more like Saving Private Ryan than Star Trek. It's one of the franchise's most emotionally raw and physically intense moments, an unforgettable reminder that in the Dominion War, even Starfleet officers had to become soldiers. 3. Spock's Freefall, Star Trek 2009. When reboot Spock, Kirk, and Sulu skydive from orbit onto a Romulan drill platform over Vulcan, you know you're not watching your father's Star Trek. The visual spectacle of this orbital drop is jaw-dropping, plummeting through the atmosphere at breakneck speed, dodging debris, and landing in an all-out brawl on a hostile structure. It's sky-fi skydiving turned up to 11, and it still gets the adrenaline going every time I rewatch it. 4. Worf's Bat'leth duel on the ice of Star Trek. First Contact. When the Borg invade 21st century Earth, Worf joins the fight in a spacesuit, but it's his icy standoff with a Borg drone on the ship's outer hull that truly delivers. Floating above Earth with nothing but vacuum between them, Worf uses his signature Klingon Bat'leth to hack down the cyborg menace. "Assimilate this," he growls, before blowing the creature to pieces. It's the kind of action one-liner James Bond would envy, and a killer scene that proves Worf is always down to throw hands or blades. 5. Picard vs. Shinzen's Viceroy, Star Trek, Nemesis. While Nemesis isn't everyone's favorite Trek film, there's no denying the climactic physical fight between Picard and the Reman Viceroy delivers serious grit. Deep in the twisted corridors of the Scimitar, Picard goes full action hero, trading brutal blows with a genetically enhanced warrior. This isn't diplomacy. This is personal. There's something surreal about seeing the usually cerebral Jean-Luc in hand-to-hand combat, but it works. When the phasers are down, Picard can still throw down. 6. Michael Burnham's Zero-G Space Chase Star Trek, Discovery, The Vulcan Hello. The Discovery pilot doesn't hold back. Burnham's spacewalk to explore a mysterious Klingon object turns into a high-speed zero-G chase that's cinematic, stylish, and dangerous. Debris spirals, pursuits, AI panics, and the tension spikes as she races against time and a hostile alien presence. The sequence is fluid, suspenseful, and beautifully choreographed. It was a bold statement. Discovery wasn't afraid to go big, fast, and furious, even outside the ship. 7. Riker vs. the Flying Alien, Star Trek, Insurrection. Here's one that's often overlooked. During Insurrection, Riker takes the fight into a planet's atmosphere using the Enterprise's joystick-controlled manual steering, which... okay, sure. But outside the ship, the real action comes when the crew is on the surface. Riker uses the environment, natural terrain, and fast thinking to outwit the technologically advanced Sunna. The cat and mouse chase through mountains and canyons doesn't just show off his piloting, it proves Star Trek can do action-adventure without abandoning its moral center. Final thoughts. Trek isn't just tech, it's tenacity. What makes these outside-the-ship scenes so compelling isn't just the spectacle, it's the stakes. Starfleet officers are trained scientists, explorers, diplomats. But when the moment demands it, they rise to the occasion, fists clenched, boots on the ground or in the void, risking everything. These scenes remind us that Star Trek isn't about avoiding conflict, it's about choosing when to stand your ground.